Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today we have a fantastic guest with us. In 2017, he launched the world first TV show on CNBC called Crypto Traders. He's an investor, he's an entrepreneur, founder of Crypto Banter. Ran, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. How are you, my friend?
I'm really happy to have you on the show. Thank you so much for finding time for us.
Anytime, my friend, anytime.
It was great seeing you in Singapore. You guys have a fantastic booth. You know, we had a good chat with you and your team. Amazing people. So I'm very happy that I had the chance to meet you in Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore's a lot of fun. I mean, I love the Singapore conference. I think this Singapore conference was incredible. The level of people there and the Grand Prix and just, you know, all the little chess pieces together just made it absolutely perfect.
Flying back to Dubai and thinking, what is the bear market?
There was no bear market at Token 2049. That I can guarantee you.
You have one of the most amazing stories. Do you mind telling us how you got into crypto in the first place?
Yeah, sure. So in 1998, I was a stockbroker and people used to call me all the time. And they used to say to me, hi, what is the price of this stock? And then put the phone down and hi, what is the price on this stock? And 10 minutes later, the same person phones you again about the same stock. And I was like, hold on a second. There's a better way of doing this. Let's do online stock trading. This was before Charles Schwab, before E-Trade. Anyway, so I left my stockbroking job. I raised money and I started building a Charles Schwab or an E-Trade or whatever you want to call it. We built until 2000. In 2001, we had the big dot-com collapse. I lost everything. I lost my house. I lost my car. I lost my golf clubs. I lost my watch. I lost everything except my girlfriend. And I was insolvent and I needed to basically rebuild. So it took me 6 months of doing nothing. I locked myself in a room for pretty much 6 months and was depressed. And, you know, you go from, at one point, I was cited to be the youngest CEO of a IT company listed on the stock exchange in South Africa, and the next moment you don't have a car anymore. Let alone, you don't have anything anymore. Anyway, I spent about a year looking for something to do. 6 months to a year looking for something to do. Eventually, I started a marketing company. I built that marketing company for 15 years to be the biggest marketing and advertising agency in Africa. And then in 2015, 2016, we sold the business. We sold it to Publicis. It was the biggest transaction for a media and marketing group on the continent, on the African continent, even until today. We sold them the business. And then I discovered crypto. I discovered crypto kind of like while we were selling. It was around 2015. To be honest, when I discovered it, I had no idea what it was. All I knew is that it's some kind of digital internet money that gamers are using. And it's not unusual because gamers were always dealing in these like gaming, you want to call it gaming coins, but gaming money, gaming assets, you know?
Yeah.
And one of my friends who's a gamer, like he was ahead of, he was like always like the gamer, he's always ahead of his time when it came to technology. And he came to me and said, look, I'm buying this thing called Bitcoin, which is, you know, like you always have that one friend who's always trying these crazy things. He was like the first guy to try magic mushrooms, and he was the first guy to try. You always have that one guy, and he's that one guy. Anyway, I said to him, look, you know, if you're buying these things, and they're pretty cheap, they were like, I can't even remember exactly, but I'm guessing they were around $500. And I kept saying, you know, if you're buying for yourself, like buy me a couple of these things as well. Like, I mean, what can you lose? You spend $20,000, $30,000 on these things. And yeah, I bought it. Price goes up, price goes down. I'm thinking to myself, what the hell's going on here? I don't have enough invested to actually give a because I didn't know what it was. But it just keeps going up and up and up. And then it eventually crashed. And anyway, I realized, you know, the best marketing for an asset is when you buy it. Because then if it goes up, you're going to want to know exactly what it is that you bought and why it's going up. And if it's going down, you're going to want to know exactly what you bought, because you may want to save your investment, right? So that's how humans are. And so sometimes I think that the best way to learn about something is to actually jump in the water and swim. So because I was in the water and I was swimming, I started doing a lot of research about Bitcoin. I fell so in love with the concept of Bitcoin and crypto that I managed to get myself fired from the business that I'd sold. So once we sold the business, we had a 5-year earnout. So it's like, what an earnout is, for people who don't know what an earnout is, it's like when you sell your business, you get paid a certain amount upfront, which is the purchase price. But then sometimes they incentivize you to stay there for 5 years by saying, you know, you can earn up to double the amount of money if you just stay with us for 5 years and the business continues to perform. Anyhow, I was about 1 or 2 years into my earnout, and I went to my new employer and I said, look, I don't like you. You don't like me. I'm willing to give you the earnout if you'll just let me go now.
There we go. Mm-hmm.
And that's because once I discovered crypto, nothing else made sense. So it's almost like if I teach you something, and once you learn it, you can't unlearn it, but nothing else makes sense. One of the reasons why I wanted to exit the marketing company, like we were the biggest marketing company. We had 1,550 staff. We had the most clients. We had never lost a client. It was an amazing business. The reason why I wanted to sell it is because I felt that I was living in a linear world. And what I mean by linear world is the harder you work, the more offices you open, the more people you hire, the more money you make, and the more risk you take. And the less people, the less staff, the less buildings, the less trucks, the less money you make. Now that's a linear world. A linear world is not a bad place to be when you're young, even though I probably encourage everybody to not think linearly. When you think linearly, effectively what happens is you're running on a treadmill. And the treadmill runs at about 10% or 5% faster every single year for you to remain in exactly the same place. Which means that if you think about what inflation does and what the world does is, what it means that you have to work 10% harder to remain exactly where you were before what happened. Listen, being in a linear world was cool when I was 25 and had all the energy in the world. That was amazing. Problem is, as you get older and you have kids and whatever else, you can't work 18-hour days anymore. So inevitably, you start falling slightly back and slightly back and slightly back. And so the reason why, the day that I made a decision was the day that I decided that I wanted to teach my brain to think exponentially. And when I discovered crypto, I realized that crypto was the ultimate in exponential thinking. It was the ultimate. It's all about networks and network effects. And when I discovered it, nothing else made sense. And so it's almost like, I use the example, I say, it's almost like you speak English and I speak English, and then I go and learn Mandarin, but as I learn Mandarin, I unlearn English. And the problem is that I came back to my previous business, which was a linear business. And in that linear business, I was looking at all these people and I was trying to explain to them what the right way looks like in my mind. And they looked at me and they said, well, why you speaking gibberish to us? You're speaking Mandarin to us. This is crazy. We can't do this. And that's exactly what happened. So I left the business. I went full-time into crypto. Then when I was full-time in crypto, I saw the markets going up and down every single day. And I had no idea why. And so I was looking for news, but there was no news. I mean, CoinDesk was a very, very, very young organization back then. There was very little news, like nothing. And I always wished that they would cover crypto on CNBC. Every time I watched CNBC, I was like, imagine they had like a 3-minute segment on crypto. So anyway, one day I meet a friend of mine who's a director of CNBC, and I said to him, you guys should really cover crypto. And he's like, yeah, problem is crypto is full of scams and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we meet again. And the last time we meet, which is about a year later, I explained Bitcoin and crypto to him. And he loves the idea so much that he actually lands up buying some Bitcoin. And he sends me to the production manager at CNBC and he says, look, just go and explain to her what Bitcoin and crypto actually is, which is exactly what I did. And then, like every person, when they get into crypto, they have what I call the aha moment. And the aha moment is like that moment when your eyes light up and you go, I get it. And I could see in her eyes that she had the aha moment. While we were meeting, she had her aha moment. And then I was like, then as I was leaving, she said to me, we need to have a show on this. And I'm like, cool, guys, good luck. If you need anything, just phone me. She says, no. You're doing the show. I was like, she said, no. I said, I don't know how to do TV. She said, don't worry, we'll teach you TV and you'll do the show by yourself. And I was like, okay, and who's going to produce the show? And she said, don't worry, we got a production team. Long story short, I arrive at CNBC the next Wednesday. We're about to go live. I look at these notes that they've given me, and I realize the production team knows nothing about crypto and Bitcoin. Nothing about Bitcoin and crypto. And these notes are pathetic. There's no way I can go on TV and talk about this.
This is such a fantastic story. So definition of success in my book is for someone who never gives up, because you described a situation that for many people would have been maybe the end of their career, whether you power through. So yeah, amazing story.
I'm trying to find you the first episode that we ever did of CNBC Crypto Trade. I'll see if I can find it for you. Okay, now listen. I'm so embarrassed about this, but I think it's good fun to talk about. We do the first show a week later. And what I did was I basically phoned everybody who I knew in crypto. And I said, look, I'm going to phone you at a certain time and you're just going to answer the Zoom call and we're going to talk crypto and you're going to be on the world's first televised crypto show ever. Like no one had done a televised crypto show. There I was on CNBC. I'd never done TV before. When you look at this, it is so embarrassing. Every time I look at it, I can't believe I'm going to show it to you. It's Thursday night and you're watching Crypto Trader, the world's first broadcast cryptocurrency investment show. So, for those of you who thought that the crypto world was coming to an end this week, welcome to crypto. For those of us who've been here for a while, we know that when crypto goes down like that, all we need to do is stop, switch off our monitors, and hodl. It's a terrible I'm so embarrassed by the video, obviously. But anyway, so that's how we launched the world's first televised crypto show. We ran that show for 3 years until COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, we stopped doing the show because the idea of doing a show while you were in lockdown in an apartment in New York with kids running around you, even though today that seems normal, back in the day that was not normal. And so that's where we landed up. And we ran the world's first televised crypto show. It was a fantastic show. It was an international show. It was one of the biggest shows on CNBC at the time because crypto interest was incredible at the time. And that's the CNBC story.
In order to become who you are now, you have to go through some learnings, right? So it totally makes sense. It's fantastic. Your journey is incredible. So I'm very happy you're here sharing it with us.
When I was at CNBC, I hated the bureaucracy. I hated the fact that they were very rigid. They also had a whole lot of like old school journalistic issues. Like, for example, you always have to remain completely neutral. You can't pick a side. You got to be journalistic in your approach. You can't nurture a community. The way that traditional journalism is structured, they are there and you are here, and the viewer and the host are very disconnected. And that's not me. I'm a much warmer person. I always have opinions. I like to talk about my opinions. And so what I landed up doing was I left CNBC and I decided that I want to do this on my own. I want to do this on my own. I want to build a community. And so I started streaming. I started streaming from a coffee shop. Anyway, here we are 3 years later. We've got one of the biggest channels in the world. We've got Banter. Banter's full. So we've now got a new channel called Banter Plus, which is where I do a lot of my shows now. We've got a community of over 1 million people across different mediums. We've got probably 750,000 people on YouTube. And we really have one of the best and nicest communities in the whole world.
I agree. Was it November 2020, right? When you opened your own channel?
2020, yeah.
To paraphrase, I always say, when you explain to someone crypto, it's like seeing another color. And once you see the color, you cannot unsee it. It's going to be around you everywhere. And imagine there is a new color you've never seen, and then someone explains it to you or points at you, the color. That's it. Once you wire your brain into how crypto works.
The color analogy is an unbelievable analogy. It's an unbelievable analogy.
Like you said, you rewire the brain into it and you can't take it away. It's there. Everywhere you look, you cannot avoid it.
Problem is that nothing else makes sense. So once you see it, all the old stuff is like, why are you doing it like that?
What will be the number one advice you would give to someone who decides in October, towards the end of October in 2023, to jump into cryptocurrencies? What would you say to them?
Jump in and start using it, because getting into crypto now is like getting into the internet when it was dial-up. And you need to know how to use it, because when you do, you get a competitive advantage against those that don't know how to use it. So if you look at all your friends that were developers or gamers in the old days, those guys have a unique advantage over anybody else when it comes to internet, even to this day. And I think it's the same thing with crypto. It's a new system. Sending money from one wallet to another wallet using private keys, irreversible send functions, staking, and stuff like that. You can only learn that through practicalities and through actually doing it. And so my big bit of advice to anyone getting in, get in for the price, but learn to use the technology. That's learn to use the tech.
Sometimes when I speak to people, they don't have their color set yet. They don't see the color yet. They say to me, oh, but I don't have $50,000, $40,000. You can just go in with a small amount, $10, $5, $50, whatever you can. And exactly like you said, play with it. Send currencies from one wallet to another, do some staking.
The important part is not to invest. The important part is to use. You'll make more money using crypto than investing in crypto, because you need to understand what staking is. You need to understand what sending is. You need to understand what a wallet is. How many times have we lost money through losing your private keys, not being able to find your words afterwards? Like, you need to experience that on your own skin before you can graduate to being a crypto investor. And if you try and do the other one, step 2, before you do step 1, you will lose a lot of money in step 2. I've seen it a million times.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, it's a step you have to go through, and the further you delay, the highest the amount you're going to lose. Exactly like you said, because you have to familiarize yourself with the environment. It's a new technology, right? I also believe it's going to allow us to connect to communities in a much deeper ways. You mentioned publishers, you mentioned marketing. I've been doing IT since the beginning of internet. So I've gone through all the struggles. I remember when I was approaching companies in Milan, I had my own design studio, selling them stuff like, hey, you can buy a domain name. And they were like, I had to go on TV, I buy print advertisement.
What do I need it for? Why do I need to own my domain name? And now they say to themselves, today they come to you and they say, if only I'd listened to you and I'd actually bought the domain name, then I would have been a much happier person.
Exactly, because again, they miss to connect the fact that this technology called now internet, which is in the hands of everybody, with the iPhone kind of change the game. But we now do everything through internet. We talk to each other, we buy stuff, we have our bank accounts. But back in the day, it was hard. And I think this is what people are failing to see now with this technology. They don't go further in time. They just stop to where we are now. But this is just the incubation phase. And like you said, this is where opportunity lies, right? Because if you know where the market is going to be in 10 years, well, then that's where you invest, because otherwise it's going to be too late.
Investment also means investing time. It doesn't only mean investing money. It means invest your time to actually learn, right? It's not investing. There's not only time. It's time and money.
What's going on with Crypto Banter? I know you have now Banter Plus. I mean, what do you guys have in plan next?
Crypto Banter has 3 elements. The first thing is we have a broadcast channel, which is Crypto Banter and Crypto Banter Plus. We have multiple hosts on our channels. We have Annie, Sheldon, Kyle, Miles. We want to build ongoing specialized crypto content. Like, Miles is the deep dive king. Annie is a day trader. Sheldon is a short-term trader. Kyle is a very different trader. So we have Crypto Banter. Because there's too many shows on one channel, we've also now got a second channel called Crypto Banter Plus. You see, we've already built it to 100,000 subs in just less than 10 days or 12 days or whatever it is. It's a very, very, very strong channel. Then we also have a school, crypto school, where we teach people how to trade for free. Everything we do is for free. So we teach people how to trade for free. And then we have software tools. And one of the biggest software tools that we have is what we call Banter Bubbles. Now, Banter Bubbles is an easy way to look at what's going on in the bubbles. You can look at it on an hourly, a daily, a weekly, a monthly, a yearly, or you can filter it down and say, if you want to look at the 5-minute charts, you click on 5 minutes over there, and then bang, now I'm looking at the 5-minute performance of the tokens. Every one of our bubbles actually has a chat. So if you want to know what's happening in Bitcoin, just go into the Bitcoin bubble and you can actually see what's going on. So why are the bubbles green or red? In other words, what's moving up and what's moving down? And then why is it moving up or moving down? The idea is to understand what the community is thinking. So you create a chat in every bubble. Yeah, and that's effectively Banter Bubbles. The other thing we have here is if you click here and you see our newsroom, this is directly what our hosts are seeing, are looking at, what our researchers are looking at. There's 40 researchers at Banter, and this is literally what they're seeing real time in the markets. And then every morning we have a research call. You click there's a research call, and basically shows you all the calls that we've ever had. And yeah, I mean, that's what it is. So that's effectively Banter Bubbles. That's what Crypto Banter does. As you say, business started in November 2020, so a relatively young business. It's not even a 3-year-old business. And now we're grinding every day.
Yeah, I can see that. And I love the fact that when you guys are live, there's a bubble that says live show. It's a super cool feature.
We're very excited about Banter Bubbles. You can download the app. It's Android, iOS, and you can obviously just go and check it out on Bubbles.
I also had my kind of cold bath with Carl. We go live Monday to Friday with the Moon Show every day at 5 GST. And I've done design for 30 years. I'm a creative director. That's what I've done for my entire life. And then all of a sudden I'm in Dubai and Carl goes, hey, let's do a show. Okay, let's do a live show. But like you said, it's a completely different beast.
I hate pre-record. I love live. I can't do pre-recorded. It's just there's too many options, if you know what I'm saying. Too many. At least live, you get it right, it's done and it's finished. It's a take, another retake.
Embrace it, share it. Hence why going live is probably a one-off experience, and people maybe like it more because they can interact with you, they can chat with you, they can see who you really are as opposed to a post-production version of it, if you see what I mean.
It's stressful going live. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. It's stressful going live. But that's part of the that I enjoy about it. I enjoy that. Like, you got to be live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then when you're live. That's it. Now, perform. That's it.
I also love it. Like doing a live show with Carl for the past 3 weeks. We've gone live every day and I've been loving every single one of them.
To be honest, also, you're lucky that you're doing it with Carl. He's an amazing, amazing, amazing human being. I've grown to know Carl for a while. And I would say that he's one of the nicest people in this industry. What I respect about him is, number one, he's a hard worker and a grinder. And he's been grinding and he's been working really, really, really hard since I met him in 2017 or 2018. I met him quite early in crypto. And he's been working really, really, really hard. And he comes from a humble background. I'll be honest with you, when I first started Crypto Banter and I had a very small channel, very few people wanted to help me. Very few people wanted to come onto my show, because hey, you're a small channel. You got 1,000 subs, 2,000 subs. Why should I come on your show? Like, it's such a waste of my time. But there were 3 people in the industry or 4 people in the industry that really, really, really helped me. So one was Chris. The second one was Carl. The third one was Ivan on Tech. And the fourth one was Elio. In the time, they were big streamers. And when I was starting up, they made guest appearances on my show. They bought the communities. They asked people to like and subscribe and stuff like that, and taught me a lot. So, and Carl is one of those. And then, the other thing about Carl is Carl's got a very, very big heart. He's just got a big heart. You can see it. You can see it in his interaction with people, in his interaction with his brother. He's just got a very big heart. And I think he's often misunderstood by some people because they want to misunderstand him. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many of the viewers have actually seen Carl's other channel, so his vlog channel. I don't know, because Carl's got the crypto channel, which is the Moon, and he's got the vlog. That vlog channel is one of my favorite. I've got kids. I don't have the same freedom that I used to have to, be able to jump on a plane, to buy whatever I want and whatever else. Because the thing about kids now, and I love watching Carl's channel, bro, because he lives his best life. You know what I mean? To me, one of the greatest guys out there. Seriously, one of the greatest guys out there.
And I have to say, working with him for the past 3 months made me see him on a different light, exactly like you said, because when you work with someone every day for a few months, you get to know sides you didn't know before. So everything you said, I agree 100%. And by the way, this is what you're doing for me. Thank you so much. My channel is super tiny. Having you here means a lot.
I've been with you before, and I know how hard the grind is. And I know that sometimes all you need is you just need a little lift up. And, for me, it's 1 hour of my time, and I will do it from the bottom of my heart because I want hardworking people who are smart. I want them to succeed. And if I can help you in your journey, if I can help change your life in any way, you can count me in.
Ran, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Really appreciate it.
Such a pleasure. And if we can do it again, let's do it.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember to go and check out Ran if you haven't. Otherwise, you'll miss out. And we'll see you on the next one.